seen you in a week. Hope you've been well. Ish. So, over the weekend, on Sunday night, I posted your next out-of-class exam, which is not due, I think, till next Wednesday, I believe. Correct on the schedule?
I think it's Monday.
There's a project due Monday. I tried to not put everything due on one day. Usually what I try to do is I put the out-of-class exam, or the in-class exam in class, and then the out-of-class exam one day, or one class meeting after. But because of having Monday off, I didn't want to have you guys come back in today and have an in-class exam and then have to do the out-of-class for Monday because it's a project due Monday. So I pushed both the in-class and the out-of-class due dates back to the following Wednesday. So that's due Wednesday. We'll also have the next in-class exam on Wednesday. We'll talk about that today. What's going to be on that. We'll take some questions on your quadratic regression and make sure that makes sense. So your out-of-class exam pretty much deals with one data set looked at over and over and over again. It's Usain Bolt's times when he set the record of the 100-meter sprint in Berlin in 2009. I tried my damnedest to get Ashton Eaton's time, so I really wanted to use him because he runs a pretty ridiculous 100 too. I mean, it's not Usain Bolt, but then Usain Bolt can only do one thing, and that's run really fast in a straight line. And Ashton's from Oregon, which is pretty rad. But anyway, I couldn't get him. So one of these days I'll challenge to a track meet to get the times myself, and then probably get arrested. But we'll use Usain Bolt for the time being. And I had to explore his data set a bunch of different ways. If anybody's gotten a chance to do the out-of-class yet, there's an Excel spreadsheet that goes with it. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be plopping what are called trend lines, which is what Excel calls best fit lines, onto the scatter plot I've already provided you in the project. And I made a little video to go along with that. So what you'll see is, as you're reading through the out-of-class exam, it'll say, you know, add a quadratic trend line, add a linear trend line, add a cubic trend line. I know we didn't talk about cubics in class, but that's okay. You'll see why we want to look at. Oh, we talked about it a little bit because Asana, you found that cubic for that data that we had, which looked really good through the data points itself. So we'll have you guys doing each of those on the scatter plots. The video helps you make sure you can find out where all those things are. It's real short. It's like a 3 or 4 minute video. You have to just, and some of you might already know how to do it, so you can skip the video. And then you're figuring out his maximum speeds. You're figuring out his average rate of change, and then his instantaneous rate of change, which is that speed at a given time. And it's not like you did on the quiz you guys are turning in right now. If you're turning it in, it's your choice if you want to. The bike speed quiz, we kind of discussed the language on it. So if you want to turn that in, totally fine, turn it in now. Some of you already did, I think. Mike, you got yours back already. It's not like that. The way you're going to be doing those average rates of change is actually using Excel. I created a new sheet like the one we used in class where you're sliding points along the curve, and Excel's actually giving you the average rate of change you need in the sheet. So it's just for you guys, it's a matter of exploration. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, I want them to do some math. And I was like, you know what? No, they've done enough math. Go find out where Usain Bolt was traveling fastest during that race. Now, logically, where do you think it would be? Logically, you think it's at the end. It's not. And if you watch the film of the 100 meter, and I have a link to it on the out-of-class exam, you can watch it if you want to, you can't really tell that he's slowing down at the end, but he is. And if you watch him race, and a lot of these sprinters are getting this way, it's a phenomenon I've noticed over the past 10 years, they do things towards the end of the race that slow them down. And you'll see what it is when you watch the video clip, and when you actually track the data, you'll see where he's going the fastest, and at what point he starts slowing down. And what's amazing is he starts slowing down and he still sets a world record. That's kind of amazing. Now when I say slowing down, it doesn't mean he's going slow. He's just not going as fast as he was at the point where he's going the fastest. And what's cool about the best fit curve is you can actually see that speed change. You can't see it from the data necessarily, but as soon as you fit a curve to the data, and the cubic model fits beautifully, as soon as you fit a cubic model to that curve, you can actually see the speed change. And you'll learn about something called an inflection point, which are kind of cool. Which is different than my bike. My bike rolling down the hill, when was I going the fastest? At the end, because I was accelerating the entire time. I had the same acceleration the entire time due to gravity, but Usain didn't. Usain did, because he wasn't fighting gravity, he was only fighting lactic acid and whatever the hell's up his legs, which apparently is dynamite. Okay? So there's your out-of-class. It deals with one data set and one data set only. It's already in Excel. Your job is to get in there and familiarize yourself with it. and add trend lines, like your TI, but it's actually more convenient than your TI because it does everything for you with a right click, or left click and a couple drop-down menus. So, cool. Anybody got a chance to try it yet? Out of class? Joe's working, behaving itself? I ran it a few times from home on I ran it on the remote login and also my home computer. Everything seemed to be working pretty well, so awesome, awesome. It was fun to set up. It was fun to put together. I had to learn some new Excel commands on how to pull coefficients off a cubic. Never did that before. So it's the kind of thing I highly encourage you guys to not learn Excel like I do, which is punk rock ghetto style. What you should do is take an Excel class. Take an Excel class, if you ever get a chance. Has anybody taken the 125E class? A couple of you have. Yes, it's a wonderful, wonderful class. Everything I've learned over 20 years, I think you log in. Everything I've learned over 20 years, you guys can learn in a matter of 10 weeks. Yeah, there we go. So I'm gonna try to have an Excel component from now on. This out of class exam, I think your last one had one too, yeah? Did your last one have one? Yeah. It did, didn't it? Yeah. The triangle one, right. And then the last one will definitely have one. I'm going to have you guys analyze Powerball, the Powerball game, and we'll definitely use Excel for that, because that just makes life easier than trying to keep track of all those numbers in your head. And what your project that you're doing for Monday, I guess, that counting project, that actually helps you understand Powerball. I know you're probably thinking, like, how the hell does that help me understand Powerball? Well, I heard a couple of you guys talking about the die rolling outcomes. You know, you're throwing a die and you're keeping track of how many ways dice can fall. Well, that's craps. That's literally craps. And if you're keeping track of, you know, you've ever played craps before? Yeah, craps is the first roll of craps. If you're playing simple line bets, I think they're called line bets. It's the fairest game of chance in Vegas. The fairest. It's more fair than roulette. If you think about a roulette wheel, you think about the roulette wheel spinning. That's actually less fair to the player than a game of craps, and people don't like that. They think to themselves, how can that possibly be? And it is because of what you guys are figuring out in your project right now. It ends up being like 40, I used to know this off the top of my head, but I don't anymore. Alan, do you know what the odds are?
I think it's close to 40.
It's almost perfectly 50-50,
Yeah.
but it's just enough below so the casino still makes money off of you.
Oh yeah.
It's a smidge below, but it's not so low below that it doesn't keep people from playing. So the idea is, if you go in there with $100 in your right pocket and you play craps all night long, you're going to lose all that $100 on average. But the kicker is, you're going to lose it more slowly than if you play another game in the casino. That's the idea. Even roulette. That's the idea. On average, you're going to lose it all, but it's going to take you longer to lose it so you can enjoy it more. So, what you learn Math 105 today? You want to lose money slowly? Go play craps in Vegas. Take that home with you. So anyway, the reason that your project actually ties into Powerball is think about Powerball. When those balls pop up from the machine, that's essentially a die inside. How many sides? I think it's 53. I think each machine generates a 1 through 53. And the idea is they're all little ping pong. They still do ping pong balls? They still do old school with the yeah. So they still do ping pong balls that are rolling around, and then one pops to the top. Well, that's like having a die with 53 sides on it, and throwing it down the hallway, and watching what side comes up. It's exactly the same thing. So if you can understand what you're doing in that project, as we move through the last 3.5 weeks of class, you'll understand even more what you're doing in Powerball when we get to that point. And we'll also look at Deal or No Deal with Howie Mandel, your favorite host and mine. And a few other things. We'll look at Monty Hall, Let's Make a Deal, which was the precursor of Deal or No Deal. We'll watch them play that in class next time, because that really drives home the point of how counterintuitive sometimes our intuitions about probability are. And I do want to get, that's kind of where we're headed next, is probability. That's where this project kind of takes us down that road. Yeah, Linda?
I ran 2 girls. From when did you say we were doing the in-class exam?
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. Okay.
Next Wednesday. It's the same day that your out of classes do.
Okay.
Yeah, I put everything. I don't like doing that in general, but if I push it back any further, it becomes ludicrous. I mean, and then it's like 20% late in that class, and I'm like, I want to keep kind of topics kind of close together. So it's all good. I missed a day I wasn't planning for. It's all fine. Cool. All right. So the project Monday, yes. I'll upload some quizzes. I'll upload a quiz this week, I think. Yes, I will. I'll make an exponential modeling quiz, which we'll finish up today. We'll make sure we understand the exponential. We're going to wrap up modeling today. That's the whole idea. We're going to wrap up modeling with exponential modeling. I didn't bother having you do Usain Bolt with exponential modeling, because that would be stupid. That would mean he'd have rockets strapped to his butt. But I mean, it looks like he does. His name's Bolt, for God's sake. Is that his real last name? Anybody know? Is that his real last name? Usain Bolt? It's freaking ridiculous. And awesome. But yeah, Ariel.
Is the stuff we're going to be doing with the probability going to build upon the modeling? Or is it going to be...
It can.
Okay.
Yeah, I make it in certain aspects. It can also be viewed as a standalone. Did everybody hear Ariel's question? The question was, is probability going to build off the modeling? I'm going to make it with exponential modeling. It builds perfectly off of that. It doesn't build perfectly off of linear or quadratic, but it builds perfectly off of exponential. So yes and no, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah, I try to keep the class connected as much as I possibly can. Estimation seems to have gone out the window a little bit. Not really, it's still there. So yes, it ties to a section that we're going to be talking about today. And I'll constantly make reference to that today too as we run more experiments. So absolutely, absolutely. Good question, good question. It's nice when that happens. I like the question too because it's nice to not have a math class where everything's disjointed topics that don't pull together.
Well, no, I forget things if I'm not doing all this.
Oh, of course,
I know I
of course.
experience.
There'll be less technology, I guess, with the exponential modeling, or with the probability versus the modeling itself. Less like finding the best fit regressions and things like that. But definitely still, it'll still be there, for sure. Cool, great question. And I won't let you forget, don't worry. Cool? Okay, now here's the deal. I lost all of our freaking data from last week. That's okay. Let's generate some new data today. We're going to generate some new data today on this coin flips. Now I think we may have to use our TIs to generate coins.
I have it.
What's that?
I think I have it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. You still got it. That's great. I had it in my TI and then I erased it in 244. I still want to generate some more data.
Is it physics how many?
This is good. This is absolutely great. Did you only have the two? Does anybody have the full set of data that we had from last week? It's okay if you don't. Shelly, you do? This is great, Linda. Thank you. I'm gonna grab Shelly's. I want to come back to that. If you have it handy, Shelly. If not, we can redo it really quickly and really effectively.
The coin flips?
Yes, ma'am.
Right here.
Awesome.
I'd like you to do it again.
We're going to add to it anyway, because I realized that last data set, thank you, Shelly, that last data set with the 59 in it, I want to throw that out and start again, because I want to do it trial by trial. So here's the data that we had last week. I'm going to mute this. We're going to add to this for sure, for sure. So we had, let's see, we have x equals number of flips. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to rename the variable a little bit. Number of people still flipping. So if you want to just start over from scratch, I get the feeling that many of us may have lost this data or never wrote it down in the first place. Totally fine. Totally fine. I had every intention of building on this data set anyway. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep track of the data in these lists over here. So trial. Oh, you know what? We can't use this data. We have to generate brand new data because we have different people than last time. That's okay. That's all right. Thank you, Shell. We'll just generate new data from the ground up. That's always the problem. I always forget about that. That's why we have to kind of get all the data in one time and then run with that. That's okay. We'll do it again. So forget this for a moment. Grab your TIs. Grab your TIs. We're gonna show you guys how to. Ariel, thank you for the question you asked a moment ago. We're going to show you guys how to fuse these two worlds right now. We're going to turn our TIs into coins. Turn our TIs into coins. So, fire them up. Most expensive coin you ever had. That's plugged in. One moment. Well, it's unplugged, right? I'm a drummer, not a guitar player, unfortunately. Doesn't look very good, does it? I have to run across the hall and grab a bolt. And you know what the hell with this? I'll use the one on the computer. Hang on, give me 3 seconds, guys.